Alex here with a high conflict child custody video on the nuclear option, specifically the false accusation that's so bad that if true warrants the termination of parental rights. The only thing I can really think of where this comes up repeatedly has to do with false accusations of molestation of a child. I don't get this all the time, but I do get emails on this at least every couple of months. And it seems to come mostly from one perspective. There are two perspectives. The other one isn't as common. The second perspective is that the other parent has found somebody new. Typically, they've married somebody else, and they just want to get rid of you, terminate your parental rights, and adopt their child to the new person. Not as common. The first is way more common, and that is that they're using it as a bargaining chip, and it's really sick to use something like that as a bargaining chip. But most of the time, when this is sent to me as a question, the person is offering to let everything go if they can just get what they want, which is typically primary physical custody and reducing them to supervised visitation. The only thing I can recommend, the only instinct that I have in a situation like this is to double down and approach the court and say, I need you to make a finding. Either I did these horrible things and my parental rights should be terminated, or I didn't, and I get joint physical custody, joint legal custody of a child. Don't let yourself fall into this trap that what your ex is insinuating is in any way normal, that there is somehow this realm of you kind of halfway did such a horrible thing, not completely, not all the way, but at the same time you're a really bad person, so you can't have custody of your child. So just give me everything I want and you can just have supervised visits once a month, and that's that. That's like I mentioned earlier, it's unfathomable to me that there are people out there that think this way, that they're willing to get what they want by doing things like this. But at the same time, since it didn't happen personally to me, I don't have as much personal insight on this sort of problem. The only thing I can give my viewers is this instinct of what I would do if I was in that situation. That's what I would do. That's the only thing I can imagine resonating with the court, because judges are scared of those sorts of allegations and of what it can mean if they don't take action. And so the only thing you can do is force them to make the call, as bad as it is. Something like that, something so horrible like that, either I did do it or I didn't do it. That's the approach that I would take with the judge. There is nothing in the middle here. There's no maybe or halfway. There is yes, it happened, or no, it didn't. And if it did, that's a termination of parental rights. That's it. We're done. And if it didn't, I need to have all of my rights, legal and physical, and I need to protect this child from a person who is leveling such severe or egregious false accusations that they themselves are probably going to need to have their parental rights severely curtailed over the course of time. In fact, if you're able to prove it right then and there that it's a false accusation, I don't know any judge on this planet who would not reduce them to the minimal amount of custodial time that they possibly could, because it takes things out of the realm of reason and into insanity. It's just, there's no coming back from an accusation like that, and there's also no coming back from a finding like that. And I think that's one of the reasons why courts are so uncomfortable with dealing with this situation. A lot of judges, most judges in fact, they like parents to come to an agreement. They like for there to be some sort of middle ground that they can help the parties find and get them out the door at least somewhat happy. And when somebody levels an accusation like this and it's forced to go to the court, that's it. It's just, there's only two choices and they are both diametrically opposed, and that's not usually what they want to do. This is something that ordinary judges who deal with civil and criminal cases do all the time. They're perfectly fine doing it, but when it comes to the family division judges, they get all weirded out by it. So anyway, that's my approach. That's what I would do. I would go to the court, look the judge dead in the eye and say, make a finding. Yes, I did, or no, I didn't. And it's horrible to have to say something like that, but that's what they're there to do, make the finding. And the only thing that I think would be a real travesty is for them to continue to perpetuate this idea that you can raise allegations like this to get what you want and not actually care if they're true or not, which is kind of what's going on with these specific cases with these people who are sending me messages. It seems like in these cases, the attorneys are not taking it seriously at all. They don't really care, and they're just trying to find a way to get rid of the parties. And it amounts to this sort of weird negotiations level approach where it's like, okay, fine, you can have this and this, even though I've accused you of such horrible things. I know they're not actually true, so I don't really mind that you get to see the kids. I just want to make sure I get everything I want, which is child support, alimony, primary physical custody, sole legal custody, and you get supervised visits. That's the most universal theme that I get when I get these sorts of emails. It's across the board what I keep seeing, with the exception of that really, really rare situation where they're just trying to get rid of the other parent so that they can have their new spouse adopt him. So anyway, I don't know what else to say about this topic. If there are any viewers who are dealing with these sorts of accusations, I doubt they're going to want to post it down in the comments below, but you can, just like all the others, go ahead and send me an email on it and I'll see what I can come up with. But this is really the one thing that I just keep telling all of the viewers who approach me with this question. So until next time,